Hello, everyone. Welcome to Teamwork Design, where we strive to design life from conversation to communication. I am your host, Terry Mera. Please allow me to introduce a denim designer in the making, one of my clients, Tyrone Bennett from Brooklyn, New York. I've been working with him officially since last year, right?
Yes.
So, what makes you wanted to get it into the fashion industry?
I love clothes. I love the way that you can, your personality can speak for you. Is if even if you're a quiet person, if you're an introvert, but you like to dress, people can see you and get an idea of who you are by what you're wearing, right? Because some people like to wear statement pieces, some people wear the trends, but then they find their way of style and then they start to include maybe trends and pieces that they purchase that will last over the test of time. For me, that was always very important. I had an older cousin. Well, I have an older cousin that dressed dresses very well, and it's a gap between us. So like his age group and my age group, I used to steal like ideas. Oh, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put this on and I'm gonna wear it. And when I wear it, everybody's looking at me like, man, I would have never thought to put that together, right? So now I'm looking like, okay, you ahead of the trend because even with age groups, the trends are different. And so when it starts to trickle down and everybody's like, oh, you was on that already, and then tapping into that is what really made me want to do clothes, like being able to stay ahead and also see what your ideas, what the trends will go to. Yeah, that's what really made me go into it.
Okay.
The idea.
But why denim though?
Why denim? Oh,
Yeah.
because I love denim. Denim is very rugged. It's you can form it into what you wanted to do. So even if you bought something that was very simple as far as a garment, and you take it and you start to strip it down, you start to tear it apart. You build the character in it. Denims you could build character in. So those are the things that I love about the denim overall. Being able to take it from it maybe being a plain garment to giving it character.
The journey of starting as designing and developing. How was that journey was like? I mean, so
Um,
far before okay, how was the journey like until up to the point when the day that you showed me the samples?
the journey up until that point was on and off. I had to make a decision because when I started out with um, templates of t-shirts and the very easy route of just flipping garments. And once I started that, I knew that that's not what I really wanted to do. So taking a pause from that and finding ways to generate enough money so that way I can really start cutting. So and on that journey, um, a lot of learning, a lot to learn, a lot to undo. It's always a process, though, always. But you got to learn to love the process, or else you'll quit. You'll be like, you know what, I'm done. I don't. I'm okay with not moving forward with this.
I mean, the reason I'm asking is I've done both, domestically and internationally, developing products. But when you do designing, is the easier part than a lot of people think. But actually, developing is totally different when you do domestically versus internationally, or I mean, do it overseas. Because when you do domestically, you have to be not only hands on, you have to be physically there. You have to sometimes you have to deliver all the components, materials, and etc.
Mhm.
And sometimes because of the work habits they already established, so they might not follow your like specific instructions and etc.
Right.
So how was that journey was like through developing those, your projections, your designs through, developing through local artisan and sample makers or wash houses, etc.
It's a learning curve, and I go in with being very novice in saying my experience, but also pushing what I want. Because you can run into plenty of things, just like how you said that most people they work how they work, regardless whether it's international or domestic. And knowing like what to stand on as far as what you want your clothes to represent and how you want them to look and what you're trying to translate through to the people who are actually putting the stuff together. um, it's a learning curve, and you have to learn. You learn what your ideas may not always portray physically. It looks good on computer, paper, on your sketches. It looks amazing. Like, oh, all right, that'll look great on. But then once it's done, you're like, whoa, all right, that's not what I wanted. So let me scratch this, scratch this. Let's change that. Okay, now you start to get it built out. It's almost like clay, where you model, model, you shave, you shave, you shave until you get it to where you're like, okay, I can live with this, and this is beautiful still, and it still comes across of whatever it is that you wanted to represent.
What's the most challenging part when you do go through development process?
Um, Realization with your imagination when it starts to come, yeah, when it starts to become real, and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, all right, well, let me try this, because if you don't use a model and you use a mannequin, it's not the same because of how the clothes gonna lay. So the more you can actually use a real person with hips or not hips, or just certain things that a mannequin will always have because they're all the same and humans aren't. You learn a lot.
It's a building a business, and at the end of the
Yes.
day.
Right.
But based on my experience, especially in the fashion, because it's such a hyped industry in a lot of
Hmm.
ways, that
Yes.
people forget the nitty gritty part of the behind the scenes
Hmm.
often. And once a lot of people come to the realization, and they usually give up
Hmm. Very
because
much
it's
so.
yeah, it's not an easy industry as people think it is.
No, and it's hurdle after hurdle, and you have to find yourself. How one may know themselves is different when you're building something and you're learning that and learning yourself in it. It's a baby, it's your baby. So you have to be as strong in the knowledge of self within yourself in your business. And a lot of hurdles you can feel it. It's almost like a gut punch and blow. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can go any further. But then you're like, all right, I'll pick myself up. And now you're going on along the road. And you're like, all right, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, I'm glad that actually you mentioned that. How do you overcome that when you so called when shit hits the fan? What makes you keep it
Uh,
going? You know what I mean? It could be
it,
financial, emotional, physical. It can be anything, especially during building a business,
yeah,
because a lot of
everything
things
is
can happen.
situational, right?
Pardon?
So everything is situational, right? It's a passing in time, and it also builds your character. So just like life is opposed to business, if something was to happen in your personal life, you'll deal with the emotions behind it, and then you'll figure out how to piece things together so that way you can start to move forward, get the wheel rolling. Right? If you have a flat, you're gonna take it somewhere to get fixed so that way you could get back on the road and you're driving. Same thing in business. Just because you make a tweak or your idea didn't translate 100%, and what you may have thought of something changes, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative. You just have to adapt and learn and pull a lesson from it, because everything, whether it's good or bad, you can get a lesson from it.
I mean, it's easy to say, but I just want to like kind of visualize like if shit doesn't go your way, or whether, like for example, if you invest this XYZ amount of money to develop a XYZ amount of a product, and
Mm-hmm.
doing those course, the result might not be equivalent to your expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then now you are not only facing obstacles to make the products the way you visioned, but same token, now you are financially burned in some
Mm-hmm.
ways. That happens a lot in the fashion industry.
Yes.
So when those circumstances happen, what motivates you to what your thought process to keep it going? Or how should I say maneuver that phase?
I guess with building anything, it's a foregone conclusion that everything is not going to be a hit. So I made a garment, and the garment didn't turn out the way I thought. So yeah, you put money into it, but you're gonna always put money into things, and it may not always return. But the more that you work at things, the more less likely than not that it's gonna fail than actually succeed. So you tend to just keep pushing through because you know at some point you're gonna break through, and your vision will become what you expected physically or what you manifest. Your thoughts are manifest into what you want it to be. So just because you spent money and it didn't turn out the way you thought it would, that doesn't mean you quit. You just say, okay, well, where did it go wrong? And you learn from there. It's almost like the road is going straight and you went right, but you wasn't supposed to go there. So right where it started to really go bad, you can cut that piece and then just get right back onto the road. And you're like, oh, okay, see, it wasn't that bad. Like almost like it never happened.
If you were to describe 1987 denim, how would you describe it?
1987 denim for me, and what I would like to portray is just adding to the history of denim. Um, More so my personality on just dressing in period. I like clean looks, but I also like rugged looks. Clean and rugged mixture, just like the shirt, how it's put together nicely, but you see the ends are frayed. It just gives it character. I just want to be able to add character to my clothes so that way somebody who may not be into split jeans or cut up denim, regardless whether it's a top or bottom or outer garment, you know, it's just enough of class in it to also get them out of their normal element of the things that they would buy. Because most shoppers, they buy without venturing off into anything else. What I would like to do is get that person to look at my clothes and say, I'm willing to try that. And if I can do that, then my job is done because now I've expanded their mind in a small window. Because now that they look at it, then they'll be more inclined to dig deeper into the brand and try. They'll try it on. That's the next step. Now they say, oh, well, this may not be for me. But now they're open to even the next thing that they see that they may like. They might just go on and purchase it because now I took them from being in their normal element into a out of their element, expanding what they normally wouldn't do or buy into entertaining the idea and then taking that and actually taking the leap into trying something new, which is also expanding their personality and translating that through what they feel internally, wearing it externally.
Comes to a woman's collection, what do you project?
Uh Taking garments that normally aren't worn in denim because of the ruggedness, especially for my brand, we're using 100% cotton, no synthetics, so it's very rugged. But it's also form fitting, and as time goes on, it ages just like leather would. You know, you got to break it in, you got to squeeze
It's
in
like a
there,
brand new
expand
shoes.
it.
Yeah.
Right. So once you get it in and you're comfortable now, it's like, okay, cool. So with women, unlike men, women's garments you can have way more fun with. I can take things that men can't wear and, oh, look, this is women's wear. I can do this. I can do that. I can take a cut off blouse, make it above the belly button, play with certain things, play with the borders on it or the sleeves and cuts. A lot more of being able to expand in women's and experiment in women much more than I would be able to do with men. I would just let the woman who likes to explore
Okay.
stumble upon it because then I don't limit myself to a particular person. Because most people may just wear denim. Some people, like you said, will dress up. They'll dress up, throw on a blazer, maybe throw on a pair of jeans or pair of jeans, shoes, and a blazer, or maybe just an all top and bottom blazer with sneakers, just like you said. But those are all different walks of life. So whoever, if I can catch your eye, then I draw you in. Now you're gonna understand what 1987 denim is, because now it's a broad spectrum of moods.
Okay.
Everybody is not always in the same mood. So you may be feeling
Oh,
like denim
absolutely.
today. So that's me. If you're feeling like you want to be elegant, rugged, with a little bit of edginess, hey, I'm gonna go over there because this is what they project, and it's not necessarily tailored to a specific group of people or person.